their nose tackle, and their defensive end, Joseph Maldabuk, and edge rusher Justin.
And yeah, and it's a lot going on. A lot of crazy things is going on with the NFL. So we're really trying to find out what's gonna happen with this. But I did hear some news also that you were going over, as far as with the Baltimore Ravens, probably with the injury update.
Yeah, the injury updates. Justin Houston, getting to this, and Jalen Ferguson are on reserve COVID. So they've got 4 players, and then evidently now they're saying that Lamar Jackson is listed as has an illness and is questionable. So I'm trying to find out exactly what's going on with Lamar Jackson, and is he going to play or not is the question.
Yeah. Well, you know it. That you hear illness and with today's situation, I hate to say it, but you start to think, well, is that COVID? Did they don't want to announce it on Lamar or not?
Because he wasn't vaccinated.
Right. So, but I don't. I think they haven't really found that out. They don't seem to hold back from anyone as far as disclosing any type of thing like that. So, right now, I guess they're looking at it as an illness, but I'm sure they'll keep close eye to make sure nothing is spreading through that locker room. So, something that we, very excited about this season to get back. They was feeling some type of normalcy with all the fans in the stands, but as we see, it's still going to have some of those situations that you had last season. You don't know who's going to be playing week to week with these situations.
Yeah.
That's why, everybody had it right. You don't want to get vaccinated, you want to get vaccinated. But, I mean, I just think I think you have to put some things aside if you're going to play this sport making that type of money, and you're jeopardizing not only yourself, first and foremost, but people around you and their livelihoods to be able to play. So it's really a hard thing to look at, but we're going to be seeing this all season long. Believe me, all season. And just think, this is just coming on to October. Wait until we get to November and December. And things, like I said, you're going to have, just people will be even closer because you're going to be in the stands and it's freezing. You're not trying to spread out. You need as much warmth as possible. So people are going to be close. So it's going to be different.
Let's go ahead and hit the phone. You're on the Saturday Morning Sports Page. What's up? Hey, Tamron. I see you've got your hands full this morning.
Oh, yeah. Got my hands full this morning with the guys.
Okay. Well, what we're going to go ahead and do today, I know you weren't able to get in today. We were having some technical difficulties getting on, but we are finally on the air. We're going to go ahead and go right to the picks. I do want to congratulate you, Tamron, because on the pro picks, you were definitely number one. You were 9-6. Dave was 8-7, and unfortunately, I was the bullpen reliever, the 6-9 guy with the 5.8 ERA that comes in and gives up 3 bombs, goes out shaking his head. What happened to that idiot relief pitcher that came in and got shelled? I've got the 6-9 record last week. So, but you are the 9-6. You lead the pack. Dave was 8-7, respectable 8-6, and I was unfortunately a very disrespectful 6-9. So I have a lot of work cut out. Maybe I'll go to some training program and learn how to pick games better. That will go on forever and ever, and I'm sure I can't be trained. But I'm glad you're able to call in. Let's go ahead. We could hit our picks, and maybe some of your children can maybe interact as far as giving us input on. Maybe I could take some of their advice on who to pick.
They loud enough. They dang sure gonna try to tell you something.
Good. Maybe I'll figure something out then. Maybe they can train me to do better. Let's go ahead and hit the picks right away. There are some, I think, very interesting games this week in the NFL. College, there's some games in there, not as much, but I think the NFL's got some ones that are that are going to be head scratchers. There is some news out, though. I did want to tell you, we'll get to the game and talk about the injuries. The Baltimore Ravens have some players out because of COVID. Some defensive players are out. Brandon Williams, nose tackle, and Justin Maldeburk is also out, with Justin Houston and Jalen Ferguson are on the reserve COVID list. So then they've got obviously some other players. We'll get to that. And then, but the big one is Lamar Jackson, they said, is out, or not out. He's questionable with illness, and they're not really telling us much more than that. So, but we'll get to that. It's the third game on the docket. Let's hit the first one. Washington is at the Buffalo Bills. Washington coming off that big win Thursday night. The Bills, even though Josh Allen didn't play well, I did not see the game. They managed to beat your Miami Dolphins 35-0.
Throttled. There wasn't no beat, man. They beat us down.
Did you see the game?
Yeah, I watched the game. It was Tua went out like in the second series.
Okay.
For some odd reason, these guys continue to have our number. Just whatever they do seem to go right. But the defense caught on about, we were down 14-0, but it was 14-0 for like 2 quarters.
Okay.
And they scored that last 28 points. 28 points.
Right.
With just in the late third and fourth quarter. If Brissett would have put something together between, once Tua went out, I think the game would have been a lot tighter. But it got out of hand. We started blitzing a lot, and they took advantage of it. So, but they're a good team, man. So I'm definitely picking them this week against Washington. That's for sure.
Okay, you're going to go with the Bills. Now there is the spread 7.5. It's 7 and a hook. Washington's getting 7 and a hook.
Yeah, I'm gonna lay them 7, man.
You'll lay it.
Yeah.
Bills.
Washington, they can't that quarterback, man. It's hard to get off on that defense. They got 2 great corners, man, and they play tight man-to-man coverage, and they just get up in your chest and play you tough all night. And they got good pass rushers. They got like 4 pass rushers that can play. They got a couple young guys in that. They got that the 2 veterans, so they got a good little unit.
Well, we'll see. I know Josh Allen was 7 for 33, 179 yards. He had 2 touchdowns and an interception. I didn't see the game, but from what I've heard, he was not very impressive in the way he played. So he didn't have a good game either.
It was that defense. It was the defense and the run game. I think we kind of figured out what Josh Allen is on offense.
Yeah.
But he still made some big plays here and there. But you gotta watch out Josh Allen with him running the ball too. It's not just his ability to throw the ball consistently. It's he'll make a play on 3rd down, 3rd and 5, get the first down, keep the chains moving. So that's tough to handle too.
Okay, Dave, what do you think on the game? What do you think?
They're in Washington?
Yeah, I got Washington getting 7 and a hook
at home
on the road.
Oh, on the road.
They're at Buffalo this weekend.
Yeah,
1 o'clock on Fox.
Yeah, I'll take Buffalo.
You want the Bills?
At home, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Those Bills kind of scare me, but I don't know. I'll take the Bills at home and lay that 7 and a hook. Although that hook scares me, but Washington played against the Giants. That was kind of a game that the Giants really should have won, but managed not to. Life goes on. So I'll get on with the rest of the crew, and I'll take Bills too. The Bears are at the Browns. It will be Justin Fields starting in this game. Dalton is out. Mm-hmm. That's official. Justin Fields. It is 7. The Browns lay at home. They are home. They lay 7 and a hook to the Bears. So the Bears are getting a 7 and a hook, but they're on the road, and Cleveland's supposed to be a pretty good day as far as weather-wise.
Yeah,
you always have to wonder when you're up by the lake if there's going to be crazy wind, rain, but it's supposed to be a clear, decent day up there, so nothing outrageous there. Now it's just a matter of The Browns won last week 31-21, but did not cover. We got that one right. The Bears, I got wrong. They they covered by half a point. Burrow threw back-to-back-to-back interceptions. Not a good day for him. Andy Dalton went out with the injury, so they are now going with Justin Fields. And what do you think, Tamron, on this?
It's Justin didn't play well last week at all.
No.
It's tough to you're a rookie and you talking about Cleveland. Cleveland got a defense that come after you. 7 is a tough. 7.5 is tough, but I still got to lay it. I got to go with Cleveland, man. I don't think Justin has figured it out enough yet to Cleveland's going to be a Super Bowl contender this year. So if they're going to be that, they definitely got to beat the Bears by more than 7.
Oh, this is a tough one. I'm thinking the Bears going to get fired up with him being behind him, but I still, like you said, he didn't look good at all. I mean, 7 and a hook.
Hook.
So
See, that's the thing with
the
get
hook
you
is getting me right
that
now.
hook.
Because I think the Browns is going to beat them.
I think the Browns win it.
They just take their foot off the gas. That's what I'm concerned. They take the foot off the gas and they make it respectable.
And is Justin Fields going to give him a different look?
Oh, yeah,
that
it's with the running. He's gonna
and
do
are
that.
they going to have a trouble with the Fields in the pocket moving around? Because one thing Fields can do, we saw at Ohio State. Granted, he didn't have a great game last week, but he was probably kind of thrown in there this week. He's got more time to prep, but he can make play with those legs.
Yeah.
And can he drive that Brown defense a little crazy? We saw him do that at Ohio State, and he gives the Bear offense a little bit of a different dimension with that ability to move and make plays.
But he's going to have to be able to be accurate and throw the football.
Right.
And to be honest, Dalton was much more accurate than him. You could just see that on point of throwing the football. So, oh, man. But I'm just thinking that they may take their foot off the gas, looking at it a different way, and we'll win it. But that hook, I'm gonna take the hook in this one.
So you're gonna take
the Bears and the
hook. You're gonna take the Bears and the hook.
Just because of that.
All right. I'm gonna go with the Browns, just because I think it's Dalton. It's Justin Fields' first game, and I think the Browns will kind of, they're going to play. Now, do they play to the level of the opponent? That's always something we have to be leery. But I'll take the Browns and figure that Fields is going to be learning on the fly. But I think the problem with the Bears is their pass defense is not that good. I think Baker could have a pretty good day. Now, I know Landry is out for the Browns. Odell, I think, is going to play.
Yeah.
Is that going to see him? That's where I'm kind of teetering on with Landry being out. Is that going to be more of a...
He gives so much toughness to the team. I always hated that Miami got rid of.
Man, me too, bro.
Because
you do.
He gives a mentality to a football team.
Right.
I mean, it's just something about him. You're going to miss that no matter what. But I give it to Cleveland. They are so deep everywhere that these young receivers step up. So I just... it's a hard pick. I'm only just taking it
You're
because
going to take it. You're going to take...
Yeah.
Bears.
Don't think I might not call you later and say, change it.
Well, I could always, that's true too. I could always do that.
Don't think
We'll move on to the next one. It's the Ravens are at the Lions. And now I could look to see if this one's been adjusted, but the last was the Lions were home getting 8 and a hook. That one's kind of tough just because we actually saw the Lions Monday night, the first half, play pretty good. Jared Goff had a good half. Yep. Unfortunately, they are the Lions, and Green Bay finally woke up a little bit. And I think we'll get to Green Bay, but I think their defense, Green Bay's defense, looks shaky.
Oh, it is,
They got some issues. I think the Chiefs have issues on their defense too. But at the end of the day, this is the Ravens. This one, you see, I know they have their defense is depleted. It's Lions getting 8 and a hook at home. I'm going to go ahead and look that one back up. But you know what? let's move ahead to the Colts and we'll come back to the Ravens because I want to see if that line's been adjusted with the current situation with Lamar maybe being questionable. I know he'll play, but if it's a COVID issue, he may not be able to. Let's look at the Colts at the Titans. The 0-2 Colts, people in maybe Indy are now getting a little upset and worried because they're starting out 0-2. The Titans 1-1. Big game last week for the Titans, losing the game and looking pretty bad, and the snapping back at Seattle in the second half to pull that game out of the hat. I know I had Seattle. You guys had the Titans. I looked great at halftime, and then it went to south in history for me. But bottom line is they came back, won the game, the Titans. Now they have the Colts. The Colts looking at potentially at an 0-3 situation on the road. Pit at the Titans. Titans laying 5 and a hook. Colts getting 5 and a hook on the road.
Today,
but they have their backs on the wall. Now, the only question is Carson Wentz,
he's not playing.
I don't believe is going to be playing. Now, I know he practiced Friday.
Oh, he did? Okay. Maybe he'll give it a go. But Tennessee going to get to him. They're going to get to him. They're going to twist them ankles up again. So, look for Jacob Eason.
I give him to the first quarter. He's done.
It says here it looks like he's questionable. Now, the backups would be Jacob Eason and Brett Hundley. Now, Eason likes to fling the ball down the field.
Yeah, he will throw it.
And he likes to throw it around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it sometimes to the other guys? Well, that could always be debatable, but he'll fling it.
Yeah.
Now, the question's going to be, they're going to be at Tennessee. Tennessee's going to have to put some pressure on the quarterback, which has always been their questionable. A big win last week. This is going to be one to this is a team in desperation, the 0-2 Colts. Do they kind of step up to the plate with, as far as we don't know, Wentz looks like he's a questionable. It says he will be a game time decision.
Right.
So if he doesn't go, it's Jacob Eason.
I'm about to stay with Tennessee right now. Too many questions for the Colts. They could pull it out, but I'm just gonna go with the obvious. I'm gonna stay with the.
What do you think, Tamron?
Man, I can't go. I can't go with the coach. I don't care if Wentz is in there, man. The running game. You see the second half of that running game up in Seattle. They're gonna bring that right back. They're getting their chemistry together with the wide receivers down in Tennessee. I'm going with Tennessee, man. So
okay.
I think they'll win by a touchdown. So
yeah.
The hook ain't gonna hurt.
No, I agree with you. I think the 5 and a hook's not going to matter. The next one up may be one of the best games of the day. If you have a DirecTV, you probably want to watch this one. It's the LA San Diego Chargers, we call them. But they are the Chargers. They blew that game last week to Dallas. That was so typical Charger. Find a way to lose a game. The Chargers of San Diego, LA, whatever you want to call them, that is a team that finds ways to lose a game. And then watch that game last week against Dallas. Shook my head because it was like the Chargers should have won that going away, boy, and they found a way to blow it, and they did. And that's the Chargers motto, man. Year in and year out, there's always games on that schedule.
Yeah, I know that. But it did seem like that in a way to me, but then I just felt that they didn't play well. I mean, I didn't see them play well in this blowout game. That really gets me. But that one, they didn't seem to play good. The defense wasn't bad.
No, defense played okay.
But the offense, something wasn't right. Wasn't clicking right.
Right.
And that was the problem the whole game. So I never felt like they were going to win because they didn't seem like they were ever clicking to me. No kind of consistency on offense at all. So, at least Dallas did have some, especially with the running game. They definitely had some, so it was one of them games for me. But
Sandy, the Chiefs are at home and they're laying a touchdown to the Chargers. So it has push written all over it potentially. Yeah. The Chiefs coming off of a really bad loss to me on Monday night with the Ravens and Lamar. One thing if you're a fan, that defense of the Chiefs. When that was 4th and 1 and the Ravens went for that, you and I knew, and I bet you did, Tamron, that they were going to do that. I knew the Ravens. That did not come as a surprise because you knew they were doing it all night. They own that Kansas City defensive front line, and they were pushing them over the field. And when it was 4th and 1 and a game on the line, when they came out and they're going for it, I would be surprised if they didn't go for it because that was the game.
Well, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I think they're one of the most confident offensive running teams. If they got 4th and 2, 4th and 1, they don't think nobody can stop them.
Right.
So they go for it, and they do. They line mauls the defense. They just do.
And they'll put in 35 guards if they could.
Yeah, they will. They gonna run. They don't even care. They'll let you know we coming right up this. We coming up the A guy. We come right here, and you ain't stopping. That's how confident they seem.
Yeah,
Man,
stopping those guys are tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
In those situations. But
yep.
If you're looking at Kansas City, well, the Chargers first and foremost, like you said, Dave, they were inconsistent. I thought they moved the ball well between the 20s, but once they got into the red zone, it was just like, we're just going to pick a play and throw something out there and see if it works. As opposed to, whatever the strategy was in between the 20s. I don't think they just have a power running game. That Austin Eckler, he's a good, between the 20s runner. But once you get into you got to have some power, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think he has enough. They don't have that power surge that you need to get into the end zone once you get inside those 20s. And that's tough for a lot of teams, especially those wide open passing teams. But Kansas City, they got a bad loss last week. They ain't gonna lose again. They probably beat these dudes to death, and they already know who these guys are. They probably gonna beat the brakes off. So I'm going with Kansas City.
Big and lay the points.
I don't even care what the points.
You don't care.
They just gonna.
They mad. They mad.
What do you think?
They mad. They putting up 40 something. I think that too.
It's going to be cheap.
7?
7.
Or the
7 even.
Yeah, I think they will. They will beat them.
Chiefs.
Even though they counted their kryptonite. I hate to say they always play them. I don't know why they play them well, but I don't think so this one.
All right. I'm going to be the odd man out because I have nothing to lose since my picks have gone in the proverbial toilet.
You might come out right.
I'm going to give a shot at the Bolts just because the Chiefs will win it. However, I think the Bolts are going to hang with these guys because they usually play them tough. Mm-hmm. So they're going to stay within 7. Now, this has push written all over it, but because it's 7 points, it could be like the 28, 35 to 28. I don't like Kansas City's defense, and I'm getting to the point where that defense, I think they're going to have trouble covering. And so I'm going to take that approach as Chiefs win, but it's going to be maybe who has the ball last. Could be a 3-point variance. Going back to the Ravens at the Lions, they adjusted it by a point. The Lions are now getting 7 in a hook, not 8 in a hook. So it's the Ravens at the Lions laying the home dog. Lions get 7 in a hook in their own arena.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna go with the Lions, man, because if Jackson don't play, it's gonna be too tight of a game, man. I'm gonna go with the Lions, man.
They're gonna throw the ball around too, the Lions.
Yeah, and that ain't what they do well. You know what I'm saying? They run that thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, you talking about for Baltimore? Yeah. Because they'll probably start McSorley. Will probably start if
yeah.
Who's the backup in Baltimore? Is it still Flacco?
No, McSorley.
McSorley.
Yeah.
Oh, the guy from Penn State.
Yeah, and he's
all right, but he ain't no Lamar Jackson.
No, he ain't no
No,
Lamar.
he's got.
Decent, though.
He's an okay.
Yeah.
He reminds me too much of that old Michigan quarterback Rick Leach, who could run but not a great passer. Maybe he's a better passer than Rick Leach.
Oh yeah, he definitely.
Rick Leach was a good baseball. Rick Leach was a good baseball player, though. He actually played 11 years of the baseball. I have one question for you, Tamron, and this is way off the proverbial path, but I'm going to ask you this anyway. When you played for YSU, okay, now I think they listed your weight at like 2 1/4 in the program, maybe.
No, 217.
Were you really 2 1/4, or were you like 240 and they didn't put that down?
No, I was 217. I was actually 217. That's the most I ever weighed at YSU was 217.
It was 217.
Yeah. I played better at 210.
Oh, okay.
That was my senior and sophomore year. I played at 210. But then
Okay.
at my junior year, I played at 217.
Okay.
I felt like I didn't get it. I couldn't get my game off right.
Felt sluggish.
But I still got 1,200. But I got 1,500 in the other 2 years though.
The reason why I bring that up is because when I was at Ohio State, my sophomore year, Pete Johnson and Archie Griffin were the two starting backs. Archie the senior, Pete the junior. They listed Pete Johnson at 238.
Oh,
And everybody, and when you saw them come out, I would stand, back then you could go like before the game, you could go stand around the field and watch them practice.
yeah.
I would see him next to Chris Ward. Now, Chris Ward was a big offensive tackle out of Dayton, played for the Jets and had a good, decent pro career. But Chris Ward was 6'7" or 6'6". I met him, by the way. Great guy, but a mammoth man. They listed him as like 290 and 6'6". And he and Pete Johnson would stand together in practice, and Johnson was actually wider than Ward. He wasn't as tall, but he was wider. And someone said Pete Johnson's 238, and someone said, yeah, which leg?
Yeah.
Because he was like he had to be 260. And I used to think the way he would go through the line and just abuse people trying to tackle Pete Johnson. And I still looked at 238. In fact, Joe Paterno made the comment, they played Penn State that year and had a war with Penn State. Ohio State won the game, but it was like Ohio State needed a fantastic catch by Archie Griffin to keep the winning drive alive. Did it when he won the game. But Joe Paterno commented there was no way at the end of the game Pete Johnson was 238.
Yeah, they used to lie on that.
They lied so bad.
And back then, Tamron, they had him like that, and there was a guy that played for Texas A&M, George Woodard.
Yeah, George Woodard.
They would put him at 240 something. He was every bit of 280. And they said once he got to the NFL, they listed it right.
He
was
listed it right.
285 at running back.
Yeah, you see, you have
It's
to.
ridiculous.
You got to remember a few things back then. You start looking at some old books, 1970s, and look at the size of the players. You didn't have a lot of 300-pound players running around back then.
No.
Even the line guys were 260, 250.
Yeah.
Offensive linemen, you start looking at their weights.
Yeah.
They weren't big. Pete Johnson was bigger than a lot of the defensive linemen back then. And bigger than the linebackers that were trying to bring him down.
Yeah, I used to laugh at that stuff.
But I digress. Let's get back to the Ravens and the Lions. I had to get that out. I was thinking about that during the week. I said, I got to ask Tamron. So they didn't lie at YSU like they lied at Ohio State about the players' weight. Tressel wasn't going to do that.
I just learned how to run behind my pads well, that's all.
That's it. Dave Clark, the Lions, 7 and a hook.
I know, it's so hard.
What do you want to do here, guys? This is a tough call.
It's so hard to take the Lions. It is. But, I mean, they showed some hope the first half. If they could play a consistent game like that, I'm going to take the hook. I'm going to take the 7.5.
And the Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so hard, though.
I don't know. I think the Lions are actually – the Lions might pull out a win. I don't know if they'll go – if that defense is that bad for Baltimore, Lions at home, they actually aren't as bad as what people think they are. I think Jared Goff's actually not a bad ball player. I just want to know, does Sean McVay get credit when the Lions win a game? Because usually he likes to take credit for anything Jared Goff does that's good. So let's go on and talk to the Saints are at the Pats. And the Pats are laying 3 points to the Saints on the road. This is
You talking about the Patriots?
Yeah. Patriots at home.
The Patriots.
Okay. Dave?
Saints at home or the Patriots at home?
Patriots are at home laying 3 points to the Saints. Belichick at home.
That's a hard one.
You're going to confuse Jameis, man.
Well, the Saints come off a bad loss last week.
Is it a 1 o'clock game or a 4 o'clock game?
1 o'clock game. Saints travel to New England, 1 o'clock on Fox.
Yeah, I gotta take New England.
Dave?
Oh boy, wow.
I really
Uh,
want to pick. I really want to pick
yeah, I know it's
the Saints.
who. No, wait. What's the point spread? 3 for New England.
New England gets no. New England's laying 3 to the Saints. Get 3 on the road. They're on the road. They get the 3 points. New
Uh,
England laying 3 at home.
I just don't see what you call its team playing 2 bad games in a row.
Sean
Sean Payton
Payton.
just, you know. But this is a tough one though. But I'm gonna take the Saints. I'm gonna go on a limb, take it, because I do believe Belichick is gonna try to definitely confuse Jameis.
Yeah, that's no question, man. He gonna confuse.
Yeah, he'll definitely screw around with them. Actually, they moved that. Yeah, no, it's 3.
It's still
So it
3.
is 3.
Okay.
So you want to take the Saints? Dave?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna try just to go different to see. I just never seen them play bad twice or like that. Oh.
Yeah, I think I'll lean the other way. I'll take the Patriots and lay the 3. I think Belichick will cause enough confusion, throw Jameis Winston, and I think the Patriots they come off a big win against the Jets, but that doesn't count. Panthers a bad loss, so we'll see. The next one up are the 2 0-2 teams. The Giants hosting the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are on the road getting 3 points. This is probably a must-win game for the New York Giants, and they need to win it, or their season, looking at their schedule, could turn very bad. The people in New York are screaming and yelling like a just upset fans. Giants' schedule gets ugly for them. They have the next week. It's at Saints, then at Cowboys, Rams, and the Panthers. At the Chiefs. Then they have the Raiders and the Buccaneers. The Giants, to me, if they don't win this game, going 0-7 is not out of the realm of possibility for the New York Giants.
Yeah.
They need to turn. I'm afraid this is kind of the type of game. It's the proverbial fork in the road. If they dump this game, this season could be bad for the Giants.
Yeah.
The Atlanta's being maybe the worst team in football.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Giants. I'm just gonna say it now. I'm gonna go with them.
I'll take the Giants because Atlanta has proven they got smoked last week, 48 points to Patriots. They put 25 on the board. The Giants, as we talked last week about that ugly loss to Washington. Cameron, what's your say?
I'm going with Atlanta, man. I'm going with
Okay.
Atlanta.
Falcons and the points. Get 3 points in the Falcons.
Yeah.
Next
the
one.
Giants, the Giants. You want to think that Atlanta can score?
Yes, they can. And the
I don't think
Giants'
the Giants
defense
will do
is, yep, it's shaky. Let's go to the Bengals are at the Steelers, and they're getting 3 points, which I'm a little surprised. I thought they would be getting more, but Steelers come off a real bad loss last week against the Raiders at home, 26-17. I didn't see the game, but I understand Ben didn't play well. The team didn't play that well, and the Raiders could be the surprise team here. We'll get kind of some of those.
They was physical with the.
And
Yes, they was.
They was physical.
Ben arm is done, man. That arm is done.
Yeah, Ben.
He's getting. You
That arm
talking
is
about
done.
getting hit? This dude was getting hammered.
Ben.
Yeah.
Oh, Ben was getting. I mean, forcefully. He's always been hit, but I'm talking about he's getting hit where one guy was hitting him and knocking him back, and that. I mean, he was getting pounded. And he can't. He's not gonna last like that at all. I don't know if T.J. Watt is playing with that groin. I just don't know. I don't see Burrow having another game like that. And really, they got a balanced offense, man. If he's playing well, Joe Mixon is running that football. So I'm gonna go with Cincinnati
And get the points.
and take the points.
The points is 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bengals get 3 points.
It's just so hard. Can
Yeah.
Pittsburgh lose again like that?
It's tough to say.
Yeah, I know.
That's a tough sell, Dave. I think you might have talked me into it because those Pittsburgh, man, they without Watt in there, man, they defense was just really average.
Yeah, and I don't
And
know if he's
then
playing.
with Ben Arm is a freaking noodle anymore. It really is. I mean, I'm not a big Ben fan, but you can't dink and dunk your way through a whole season again, man. You did that last year. And they get their game off on screens and dump and check downs. Screens and check downs. They do that all day.
It's Watt,
Yeah,
as far as the injury, let you know this, Tamron. Looks like there's a decent chance he could suit up against the Bengals, but he's got a groin injury, and we know how they can limit the player. But go ahead as to what you were saying.
Yeah, that growing injury, you don't get. I don't know any man that's been over a growing injury in 1 week.
No.
I mean, that's tough. That's an extremely tough injury. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals too, man. Dave talked me into it.
Yeah, he talked me into it too. I'm taking the Bengals. I don't know. So if we get this, we'll blame Dave.
Yeah, blame Dave.
I'll
blame
went
Dave.
on the ledge and fell off. I hope
not. We'll blame Dave for taking us down this ledge way. Okay, the Cardinals are at the Jags. The Cardinals, it looks like this is 7 and a hook. The Jags are getting 7 and a hook. Another home dog getting points, but they're getting 7 and a hook. The Cardinals won last week but did not cover against the Vikings. They won 34-33, but they were laying 3 and a hook, and I picked that wrong. So bottom line is, though, the Cardinals now laying 7 and a hook on the road to Jacksonville, who lost last week to the Broncos 23-13. Can the Cardinals snap back? And I should say snap back, and they continue their winning. They're 2-0. Question I think here is I think the Cardinals would win. It's just a matter, can they cover?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah, the cover is going to be hard, but I heard the coach for the Jaguars,
Urban
Meyer, say every week is like playing Alabama. So I think he might be in over his skis right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll with
Cardinals.
The Cardinals.
Yeah, and I am too.
I can't take Jacksonville. How about you, Dave? Do you want to?
No, I'm not taking
Cards. That. Yeah, I can't. I think the Cardinals will win by more than 7 and a hook. Although I've been wrong, so I don't know where that gets us. But, yeah, let's give it. The next one is the Jets are at the Broncos. This one, this is kind of up to 10.5 points.
10, Lord have mercy. The Jets is getting 10.
Yeah, the 10 and a hook on the road at Denver. Teddy Bridgewater at home. 2-0 Broncos. Beat the Jags last week, 23-13. The Jets, a poor performance against Belichick Patriots, 25-6. They now get 10 and a hook, but they're on the road in Rocky Mountain High City, Denver. Can the Broncos cover? Can Teddy Bridgewater cover the 10 and a half hook for the?
That's too many points, man.
You want to take the? You go the Jets.
I gotta take the Jets, man. That's too many. That's just way too many points.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of wood. That's a lot of lumber, as we like to refer to it on the back up the lumber truck, pile it in, because that's a lot of lumber to be laying on.
The Jets stink. Give me the Denver Broncos.
They're bad. You're right.
That's a lot of lumber.
Shoot.
Oh, yeah,
10.5.
I know that's a lot, but
and see, Dave, the one thing that be happening sometimes, they getting beat on by 14, 2 minutes left. They take their starters out. Okay, we'll give them 7. We'll get out of here.
Yep, I know. Yep, that's true.
That's the problem. And you lose because it's 10 and a hook.
I know. That's oof.
Yeah, so that's why I'm rolling with the Jets. I think the Jets don't got a chance at winning, but I think it's gonna be, one of them late touchdowns or late field goals to keep it from being 10. Well, shoot, 10, I still win.
Yep.
Right.
I don't know if I want to take the chance and just give these points. That Denver defense could do some stuff to.
I'm taking the Broncos. You see, your son's telling you otherwise, Tamron.
Yep. I think it's the Broncos.
They take the 10. They take the 10.5. No, man.
No, I think he's telling
you,
man. I think your son's just trying to tell you different.
I'm going to the Broncos.
I'm taking the Broncos just because I think the Broncos defense. I think Wilson. This is just a repeat of Sam Darnold. This poor guy. is just going to get beat up. Zach Wilson's going to be. See that?
He upset with you. For
He's
picking
upset
that
with you, Tamron. Your son's mad at you for doing that.
I should go with the
think
Broncos, but
maybe
I ain't listening to. I'm not listening to you.
He ain't going to listen to him.
Nah.
All right, the Finns are at the Raiders coming up. This one, Raiders laying to your Dolphins 4 points.
Oh.
Dolphins get 4 points on the road.
Oh, man.
The backup quarterback is killing me, man. I don't know.
Tua
I just don't know how
Tua
good
is
he
out.
Is at,
Who?
you know,
Right.
Brissett?
Jacoby Brissett is the backup for the Finns. He'll start on the road against the Raiders. Raiders lay 4 points, which isn't a lot.
Oh,
I'm seeing if they adjusted this at all, but it doesn't look like they did. No, it's 3. Actually, it's down to 3 and a hook. They're laying 3 and a hook, so we won't get a push. So the Raiders, we'll go with 3 and a hook. Miami gets 3 and a hook on the road versus the Raiders, not the 4.
I'm gonna take my boys, but that just it's infuriating that this quarterback situation is what it is.
Yep, but I'm still wondering if they could pull that out. Sometimes the Raiders be too relaxed, but I'm gonna just take them. I'm still take the Raiders. Got to.
Although the Raiders disturb me because they have a tendency to play to the level of the opponent, I'll go with the Raiders anyway because I still think that the Raiders are playing good. Now are they due to play a bad game? That's what kind of bothers me, which means the Finns would be 1-2, the Raiders 3-0. It's almost like it's probably the Raiders should lose, the Finns should go to 2-1, 2-1. I look at it that way sometimes too, that the Raiders are due for a bad game, but they have won 2 games. So I'm going to take the Raiders just because I'm not a fan of Jacoby Brissett, the backup on the road going into Vegas. So I'll take the Raiders and see. Let's go to this is a big game at 4:25 Fox, which is the national game. The Tampa Bay Bucks are taking on the Rams. Actually, the Rams are getting, now it's 1.5. So the Rams get 1.5 point at home, taking on Brady. Now, the thing they keep talking about, next week the Bucks are taking the Patriots, play the Patriots. Could Brady be looking ahead to the Patriots next week and all that drama, or will he stay focused and worry about the Rams? The Rams' big win last week over the Colts, 27-24, and obviously the Tampa Bay just dismantled the Falcons, the lowly Falcons, 48-25. So they come into the game both 2-0 teams. Obviously, the Bucks beat Dallas earlier, and the Rams beat the Bears on that Sunday night game. It was a blowout, 34-14. So are these arguably, you could make the argument these are the 2 best teams in football, maybe. So they're at it at 4:25 on Fox on Sunday, which will have probably a lot of TV sets on, a lot of eyes on this game. But gentlemen, what do you think? The Rams do get 1.5. It's almost a pick 'em, but for the sake of, in this day and age, that definitely could be the difference, that 1 and a hook, if it comes down to a battle of, field goals, 2-point, extra point miss. We've seen that before. So how do you feel giving Brady's giving up 1 and a hook on the road at the SoFi?
Oh, okay,
they're going to SoFi. They're playing this down in the LA. That's That's the SoFi. It's the home of the Chargers.
Wow, I don't know this one.
And the Rams.
This is tough right here.
What do you think, Tamron? What's your thought?
Well, it's a bad matchup for the Tampa Bay because the one thing Brady don't like is pressure up the middle.
Right.
What is Aaron Donald? 1,000% pressure up the middle.
Right.
Yeah.
So he won't be able to lay in the pocket and step up and do the things that he normally does. And I've seen Brady when we had good defensive tackles and when he got pressure up the middle. He's not the same. He's not the same Brady, but Aaron Donald is a different breed. So I'm gonna roll with Aaron Donald at home, just because. And Matthew Stafford putting up numbers.
Yes, he is. Yes,
You're gonna
he
have to
is.
put up numbers to beat them dudes.
Yeah.
And the way that this guy rushed the passer and that defense fly around, I gotta roll with. It's to me, it's just a matchup.
Yeah. But you know the thing that Tampa Bay does well is stop the run. So now they make the Rams one dimensional, and they can rush the passer. This is gonna be a heck of something for a game right here.
Could be the game of the day. This
This
could
is
be
gonna
the
be
game of the
something.
week.
So you almost just say, "Give me the point. Give me the point and a half."
You want the
I mean, that's all I can say.
okay?
That's how close I think it is. And last year, I think the Rams beat them like 27-24. It was close.
I think it's a bad matchup, though. I don't think this is an ideal matchup for Brady. I mean, what he does well is what they defend well.
Yeah.
And I think AB's not playing too because he might have COVID.
Right.
Okay. We're gonna take a break. Yeah, good point. Brown's out.
Mm-hmm.
Antonio's. I'm going to take on the Rams. I agree with kind of I think the pressure up the middle and Donald. I still shake Brady up like the Giants 4 did on the Super Bowl. He doesn't do good against guys pass rushes, and I think Aaron Donald's going to wreak havoc. We need to take a quick break. Hang on the phone, Tamron, and we'll bring you back in after this break. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, Saturday Morning Sports Page, back after this timeout on Western Reserve Radio.
Of both courses, where you can book a tee time online at millcreekmetroparks.org. Mill Creek features a newly remodeled golf shop, new cart paths, and is a Callaway certified club fitting facility with demo days. The PGA professional staff is now accepting golf outings and leads. For more information, call 330-740-7112 or stop by and see what all Mill Creek Golf Course has to offer you.
Saturday Morning Sports Page coming right back at you. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark. Let me get Tamron back. We will finish our picks. We are at the Seahawks or at the Vikings. That's the other 425. Tamron.
Yeah.
Okay, back with us. Good deal. The next game up, I went with the Rams too. As I said, I think Aaron Donald's going to be the difference maker, and I think the the Rams will win. They may be, with Aaron Donald, one of the best teams in the league. We'll have to wait and see. But Seahawks are at the Vikings. That's the other 4:25 game. We will be getting the Bucks at the Rams for the local folks that are watching it on TV. But the Seattle Seahawks on the Vikings, and actually the Seahawks are laying 1.5. So a home dog Vikings get 1.5 at home. I don't know where to make of this. Although, let me correct that line's been moved to 2 even. So it'll be 2 points. The Vikings get 2 points instead of the point in the hook. Not that if that matters, but Seattle 1-1. The Vikings are 0-2. Lost last week to the Cardinals 34-33, and the Vikings lost the Seahawks lost last week to the Titans 33-30. So two teams coming off 2 losses, 2 close losses. Minnesota looking at an 0-3 start, and obviously the Vikings trying to stay away from a 1-2 start. I don't know where that puts us, gentlemen. Cameron, your take on this game?
Yeah, I think Seattle's a better team than they played. I definitely thought they should have won last week, but that running game came back to haunt them. Same deal with these guys. Cook is definitely, if you don't think he's a good running back,
right,
you're mistaking yourself. But to me, it's like the same game back to back because Tannehill's just like the quarterback up in Minnesota.
Oh, Cousins.
There's really no difference in those guys.
Yeah, no, there isn't. I think that's one
game
of the
managers. They won't win you a game, but they don't really lose you a game either. It's just about But I think Russ will be the difference. Find a way to get the dub, and 2 points ain't gonna make or break it. So I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take the Seahawks on the road.
Yeah, they had tennis.
They're at Vikings, the Dome, sitting there. You got to lay 2 points if you take the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Home dog Vikings.
2 points even. You said
2 even. It was 1 in a hook, but it went up to 2. So we'll go with the 2.
I'm gonna still go Seattle too. They focus pretty good on the road, so.
Yeah, I would think so too. Seattle is a good road team, and it's Minnesota and they play good coming east, but this is in Minnesota, so it's not East Coast, Central Time Zone. I'll take Seahawks. I think you're right. I think the Seahawks know they should have won last week. They had that game. That was a gift wrap game they gave kind of away to the Titans. They outplayed them, but managed to lose it in the second half. The Sunday nighter, the Packers are at the 49ers. Actually, the 49ers give the Packers 3 points at home, hosting the 49ers. So the Packers, big win Monday night, 35-17, but they didn't really play very well, at least for the first half. They looked like they were the Packers that lost to the Saints, but obviously got their way about them and found a way to obviously shut out the Lions in the second half. They were losing 17-14 at half. They shut the Lions out 135-17.
No.
They put 3 touchdowns on the Lions in the second half and went kind of going away. But, at some point, the people that were laying the points, it was 11 points, they were worried that the Lions could have scored that touchdown at the end of that game, and that would have blown the point spread, but they did not do that.
Right.
So the people that were betting on the game were kind of sweating that one out late until Monday night, hoping that the Lions did not score a touchdown at the end.
Yeah.
And that would have blown your point spread if you laid the points. But it didn't happen. Now the question, though, comes down to the 49ers beating the Eagles last week 17-11. Are they maybe the best team? They come in 2-0. Packers 1-1. Packers maybe have to feel like they need to win this game. But they are in kind of a bad division, so the Packers should win that division anyway. But the 49ers, obviously, I think they realize their division. They don't have a luxury of losing a game. The Packers, I think, have a little leeway here, but they don't.
You know.
With the 49er division, with the Rams and Seattle and the Cardinals now,
All of them,
in all four of them in that division, that may be the best division in football.
Yeah.
You could make the argument. Or maybe with Denver, the emergence of the Denver Broncos, that might make the AFC West, maybe that could be the best division. I'm not sure at this point, although I think that I like the NFC West maybe as being the best division right now in football. Those teams 1 through 4 are so evenly matched. But the 49ers sit here hosting the Packers on the Sunday night, and Rodgers obviously still getting some criticism from people as they move on. So saying all those great things about the 49ers and the Packers, what do you think, Tamron?
They playing in San Francisco?
Playing in Frisco, the Packers get 3 points.
I still like A-Rod, man. I think he's going to make a play. He's going to make a play to get those guys.
Yeah.
But you know what? The last few times they played them, they're just too physical for the Packers.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was worried about.
The only thing that is true, the problem is last year, throw it out because they played with a semi-pro team. The 49ers were decimated with injuries. That wasn't a real 49er team.
Yeah.
Throw that out.
Yeah.
I gotta go with San Francisco, man. At home, they just been too physical. Until the Packers show me they can handle that physicality, man, I don't believe them.
I'm taking the 49ers because I think the Packers' defense is very suspect, and I think the 49ers are going to have an easy way they can move the ball, and I agree with you. I think when it comes down to physicality, San Fran is back to the San Francisco that pretty much took these Packers out to the woodshed previously. I like the 49ers because I think you've got the physicality. They're home. And I think watching the Packers on Monday night, I wasn't impressed. I know it was a win, but I saw this.
Someone right.
They don't look.
Okay, but
they don't look right. It was the Lions, and they beat them up in the second. I think they realized. I mean, the Packers went into the locker room at halftime, going, "We're losing to these guys by 3 points." Jared Goff had no problem moving the ball on that Packer defense.
I know.
I watched that game Monday night, and I'm thinking to myself, I still never thought Green Bay was going to lose the game, but I saw that first half, and I said, hey, man, Green Bay's got to wake up here. I mean, you know, the Lions had their way with them, especially in that first half.
The thing that get me with San Fran, they just like Baltimore when I think about their running backs.
Right.
You see how many all their running backs are injured. So I don't know if Mitchell's going to be back to play this week, I guess. All the other ones got hurt.
They're all hurt.
So they got to run the ball, and they're using the 2-quarterback system kind of still. But the thing is that physicality, that's the thing out of everything. I want to go on the limb and go with Tamron said it first, that A-Rod is going to make a play this time. But I'm gonna go on the limb. I'm gonna go and take the
GB,
Packers. Yeah,
take the Pack.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Packers.
All right.
They getting 3 points, you said?
Yeah, Packers get 3 on the road.
I'm gonna try it. But
I'll take the Niners.
Although
part of me doesn't think the Packers can go 1-2. I'm almost like that team's too good to be a 1-2 football team. But the 49ers, I like the physicality, and I don't like the Packer defense. And to me, the Packers seem to be out of sync, and they struggled with the Lions last week. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go with the Niners because I like the physicality, and I think they can move the ball on that Packer defense. Jared Goff certainly can. Jimmy G, I think, can do the same thing. Let's go to the Monday Nighter, which is the old rival game. The Eagles are at the Cowboys, and the Eagles get 3 and a hook on the road Monday night against the Dallas Cowboys. So the Eagles coming off a bad loss. I guess they're all bad losses, 17-11, and the Cowboys with the big win. Both teams come into this 1-1. So obviously somebody's going to probably be 1-2 unless we get a tie. But bottom line is you've got the Cowboys coming off a big win over the San Diego. the LA, we call them the San Diego Chargers, taking on again the Eagles. Good line play last week, but 49ers just too much. I didn't see much of the game, but
they messed up in key areas, the Eagles. The defense still
the
tough.
Defense is there. They held the
offensive line is
49ers.
still there. It's just they made some little key mistakes. You know, I really think Dallas going to win at home. I do. I think they'll split. Normally it happens, but
Now the question comes.
but I'm always going to still pick the Eagles. I'm going to still pick
Dave's going Eagles.
even though I think the Cowboys should win
Well,
at home.
this
It's
game here's the problem we have with this game. It's 3 and a hook. This has a field goal game written all over it. So, I mean, I could see the Eagles winning 27 or Dallas winning 27-24, but lose because you lose that hook.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this game so hard to pick is because you pick who win, lose, but then you look at the spread, and this is one of those spreads where I could get beat by that hook.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The hook could get you here. Got 3 and a hook on this game because you know it's going to be. I think this will be a close game.
Yeah, it should be.
I don't know if Dallas's defense is that good, so I think Jalen Hurts can have some success where they didn't have that success against San Francisco last week. I think they could do well against Dallas this week. I think Dallas got a San Diego LA Charger game handed to them because they're the Chargers. Somebody said they said after that game that the Chargers lost. Someone made the comment, was Anthony Lynn coaching them? Because that's an Anthony Lynn game he would lose. I think Mad Dog said that, but again at the end of the I think Anthony Lynn is the offensive coordinator in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So he's helping Jared Goff along. And actually, you know what? In fairness, I don't mean to go off on the tangent, but actually Detroit's offense has played pretty good in 2 losses.
Yeah.
They put up a lot of points against Frisco, and they still had, some success against Green Bay.
Yeah.
So we'll see what, the Lions do. But getting back to the Eagles at the Cowboys, Tamaron, your take on this game?
Yeah, like you said, it's a field goal game. So I'm gonna take that 1 point. Take the Eagles because that Dallas don't never blow nobody out.
And they defense has been getting away with making plays. They're not a great defense. Yeah.
Quarterback play is going to be probably about equal. I mean, I like Dak, but he been getting off because he got a lot of weapons, man.
Yeah, he do.
So,
He's loaded with weapons.
Jalen Hurts been playing well. Not too bad,
Right.
but,
I think the
I'm
Eagles.
going to go roll with them. I'm going to take that 1/2 point, man. Just take
Me
the
too.
Eagles.
I'm going to take the Eagles because I think the Eagles have superior line play, both sides of the ball, better than Dallas. Maybe Dallas has got a little bit better offense than Eagles, but I think the Eagles' defense can kind of neutralize that. And I think the Eagles can take advantage of the Dallas defense because I don't think the Dallas defense is that good. So this is going to be throwing that into the proverbial formula. I think this is a 3-point game.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I want to see them beat them.
I think this is going to be a good Monday nighter because it's going to be a great game to watch. And I think it's going to come down to, who has the ball last, who wins this game.
Right.
And I agree with you. You said Dallas can't blow anybody out, especially with that defense. And I don't know if the Eagles can really blow anybody out with that offense. It's almost like, okay, you've got 2 teams, the weakness on each side, which makes this game, to me, one of these it's going to be a close game because of the weaknesses on both sides of the ball that each team has.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game.
So let's slide over real quick to the college games. I put these games together. I almost hesitated because these aren't, I don't think, great games. They're average games to watch, but Notre Dame at Wisconsin, 6.5 points. Wisconsin is giving Notre Dame 6.5 points. This game is actually in Soldier Field, Chicago, today at noon, which is 11 o'clock that time. So it's an 11 o'clock start, and Notre Dame getting 6 and a hook with Wisconsin. Wisconsin comes in 1-1. They blew out Eastern Michigan last week, but they lost to Penn State earlier.
Notre
Dame beat Purdue last week, 27-13.
I'm taking the hook.
You want you want ND in the hook?
Yeah, give me that.
Yeah.
You, Tamron?
Good call, Dave.
Yeah, you
Hey, come on, man. Notre Dame been. When the last time Wisconsin even beat Notre Dame?
I have to even look when the last time they've played them.
Yeah.
I don't think they've. That's
I
a
don't
good.
even know if they ever played.
I don't know
Have
if they've ever played them. That's something to look up. I don't know if these two teams ever played. We'll get maybe Irish Mike can call in here in a bit. Let's look at LSU and Mississippi State, and Mississippi State's getting 2.5 points. Ed Orgeron's seat is getting hotter as we speak. He's 2-1. They beat Central Michigan last week, a directional school. Mississippi State lost to Memphis State last week by 31-29, but they're getting 2 and a hook at home, hosting LSU.
On a crazy play.
And
too,
yeah,
that they lost that on. So they're getting 2 and a hook, you said?
2 and a hook. Mississippi at home, getting a home dog, getting 2 and a hook.
But they should have been that close to that team.
Yeah, with Memphis State. Yeah.
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 Like a figure kickoff return or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. It was kind of a bad loss. I guess they're all bad losses. That's redundant, but yeah. What do you say?
I'm going with LSU, man.
LSU. Ed Orgeron's seat gets hot as we speak.
I like them.
I like LSU. I don't know.
I'm gonna go on a limb again. Damn, I'm going on a limb. Mississippi State.
All right, and take the hook.
Yes, I'm just gonna try something different.
I'll take LSU. Texas A&M and Arkansas. This is on the noon. LSU's at Mississippi State. That's ESPN game. The ND Wisconsin's Fox at noon. 3:30 CBS is Texas A&M and Arkansas. Arkansas gets 4 and a hook. And they played. Both teams had big wins last week against nobody teams. I shouldn't say nobody. Georgia Southern and New Mexico was the victims last week. The Texas A&M and Arkansas.
Oh, this is a good one here.
I have a feeling. I don't know. I'm going to go with Arkansas and I'm going to take 4 and a hook in Arkansas at home.
They've been playing well, man.
I think they're going to be tough. I don't know if they win. I think they can keep it close. They beat Texas a couple weeks ago at Texas. Arkansas could be kind of one of those sleeper teams out there. I'm going to go on a limb and take Arkansas and take the 4 and a hook at home.
Man, A&M defense is really good.
Who's the coach at Arkansas?
Yeah, whoever that is, he's got them playing.
He got them playing a lot better.
I'm telling you, out there.
They are playing. One thing, they're playing a lot. You're right.
Their offenses. Woof.
Arkansas is basically playing a heck of a lot better than previously. And let's see. Sam Pittman is their head coach.
Okay.
They also offered him he agreed to a contract extension, so they obviously like him. And he's got him. I think they've got him playing pretty good. I'm going to take Arkansas.
And it's in Arkansas, too.
In Arkansas at home, and they get 4 and a hook. Arkansas is the home dog, getting 4.5 points. I'm figuring. I know an A&M is ranked. They're ranked 7th. Arkansas is rated 16th. So I think you've got two good teams, but I lean toward Arkansas being at home.
Yeah, I get you.
I think I'm gonna go with Texas A&M.
Okay.
Yeah, I think because of
Get
their
that
defense.
touchdown.
And you get the TD.
Yeah, I think that defense will hold them down a little bit. I'm gonna go A&M too.
Okay. Next one up is Clemson at NC State, and NC State gets 10 points. And what's his name? Howard on ESPN. Desmond Howard has put Clemson on upset alert, he said. So Desmond Howard has got this on his radar as an upset alert game, and Clemson is giving NC State at home 10 points. So the home dog gets 10 points, and Clemson won last week, but 14-8 over an average Georgia Tech team. They struggled with them. NC State blew out Furman 45-7. I don't know what you gather from that, but Clemson did struggle against Georgia Tech last week, 14-8.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is this just
Yeah,
Is Clemson going to break out and blow them off the map
Yeah,
in
I know.
NC State? But
You
they
wonder.
have struggled with NC State in
Before.
past
Yeah.
history.
I'm gonna go with NC State.
I like the points at NC
You said
State.
10.5?
10.
10. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna still go. I'm gonna go on the limb.
What do you think,
Yeah.
Tamron?
Yeah, I'm gonna go out there. I'm going with them points, man. That's way too many points. I
Yeah.
got NC
Okay,
State.
we all out there.
I
on that
think we
limb.
all think that
Yeah,
too.
I
I think
just-
that's a lot of wood to lay on that. Texas Tech, that's on ESPN at 3:30 today. Texas Tech at Texas. Texas is basically giving the Texas Tech Red Raiders 9 points. They're on the road visiting Texas, and Texas Tech gets 9 points. Texas is 2-1. They beat Rice last week 58-0. Texas Tech beat Florida International 54-21 last week. They are 3-0. Texas did lose to Arkansas a couple weeks ago, so that's what makes up this game.
Yeah.
Do you feel you want to lay the 9 points and take the Texas Tech Red Raiders as your question of the day?
Texas Tech is laying 9.
They get 9.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna take them 9, man.
Texas Tech gets 9 on the road at Texas.
Let me get them 9. Texas Tech known for scoring.
Yeah, no.
They
That's
can.
it.
They
Yeah.
can light it up.
Yeah, that's the thing.
What do you think, Dave?
Texas, they did play well last time.
They
I think
played. Yeah, they got beat soundly. They hosted Arkansas, and Arkansas beat them bad.
I mean,
Because I had picked Texas, and then I looked the next morning, and Texas got their heads handed to them.
I know. That's a lot. I'm gonna take the 9 points too.
Yeah, I am too. I'm taking the wood. I'm going to take the Texas Tech Red Raiders and take the 9 points. Iowa State at Baylor. Baylor's getting 7 points at home against Iowa State. Iowa State's on the road laying 7 points to Baylor Bears.
And they've been playing okay too.
Baylor's 3-0. Iowa State's 2-1. Iowa State lost to Iowa as their only blemish. Baylor blew out Kansas last week 45-7, but you almost don't count it. Iowa State came back last week and beat UNLV 48-3. UNLV, I think, is a halfway decent team. So I don't know what you gather from all of that, but Baylor is getting 7 points at home.
Yeah. You can't, you're 3-0. You can't let a team just come in there and bully you around at your place.
At your place.
Give me this 7. Come on, baby.
What about you, Tamron?
I like Iowa State, man.
Okay, you're going to lay the points on the Iowa State.
Yeah, I'm gonna lay that. That's
Lay the
7.
wood.
Yeah.
I'll take the Baylor Bears, and I like the 7 points. The last one, I'm not putting Ohio State on this because they're 48.5-point favorites over Akron. They did not cover last week, which comes to no surprise to me, but not that you care, but move to this game. UCLA at Stanford. Actually, Stanford gets 4 points. UCLA got beat last week against Fresno 40-35. And Vanderbilt, Stanford beat Vanderbilt 41-23. So UCLA coming off a bad loss to Fresno, and then Stanford they beat USC and obviously led to Coach Helton getting canned. And then Vanderbilt, obviously, they beat up on them, but Vanderbilt's they beat up, they get beat up by everybody.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you take from any of that.
Stanford's getting points.
Is USC or UCLA?
It's UCLA. It's UCLA at Stanford, and they're giving Stanford gets 4 points at home. So got a home dog getting 4 points.
I'm gonna take
UCLA travels up to Stanford.
I'm going to take Stanford in the 4 points.
And the 4.
Yeah.
I like UCLA, man.
Me too. I'll try UCLA. I think Kelly will have them snap back from a bad loss.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we've got going on. So, let's see if,
Yeah, I like UCLA.
yeah, I do too. I'll take UCLA.
That game probably is on. It's probably on late at night tonight.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but probably.
Oh, that game. UCLA at Stanford is 6:00 on Pac-12 network. So that's
Okay.
not
Okay.
you don't need the toothpicks to keep the eyes open.
Yeah, I'll watch that one.
And you got
That
Iowa
Pac-12.
State at Baylor. That's on Fox at 3:30.
I'd like that too. I want to watch that.
Texas Tech. There you go. That's our future person there. He's
That's
going to
a
be
winner for you, Pat.
He's going to win it. That's a winner. Okay.
Stanford will win, right?
Stanford should win.
Now I was trying to get some reaction out of him. He didn't say nothing. I'm in bad shape.
I ain't going with that one, Dan.
All right. Well, I will let you go, Tamaron.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, T.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you guys next week.
Hopefully see you next week. Take care. Have a good
right.
one.
All right.
I got a daddy daycare there.
Right.
Doing the picks at home with his two sons, the twins.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, what, 9 months, 18 months?
Yeah, so in there, yeah.
Yeah,
There you go.
they're young. Future YSU football team there. He's got a linebacker and a D lineman there. He showed us the pictures of his young sons.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The D lineman, one will be the linebacker or running back like father, and then the other looks like a D lineman, potentially.
Yep.
I don't know where we can gather. But there's a lot, again, going on. We're going to go to the top of the hour. There'll be no break. So 330-707-4202. Get in and talk sports. Anyway, where we're at on it is we've got a lot of NFL football this week, a lot of good games. But, Dave, looking at some of the NFL teams, Carolina had that real big win on Thursday night over Houston. Houston played pretty good defensively. They hung in there. I think you really never thought Houston had a chance of winning that game, but they did. They were very competitive at home Thursday night. But Sam Darnold looks like to be a pretty good quarterback. He does take some bad hits, though, still. Yeah. And he obviously needs to kind of learn to maybe move around in the pocket, maybe a little bit, just so he doesn't get brutalized with some of those hits. But Carolina's now 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
Do you kind of feel that, are they potentially a playoff team? Could they win that? I mean, they're in the division with Tampa Bay, so I really still don't think they can beat Tampa Bay for the division. Potentially get in as a wild card, or, I mean, I don't want to get too crazy because it's early yet in the season, and no, I don't know if Carolina should be getting Super Bowl reservations just yet. But they are 3-0. Mm-hmm. They have played well. Although I guess beating the Jets to start the season, I don't know. And they beat the New Orleans Saints last week, and a big Thursday night win. So I don't know. Looking at that loss to New Orleans, is that more of a inflection? Is that more that New Orleans maybe has got some issues? Or I know they keep talking about Carolina's physical defense.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that defense. He really did well putting together some talent on that football team that's been really looking good. I think they have an opportunity, but it is early. It is early, and one thing that I noticed with Sam Darnold, he does look better than he did at the Jets, but not only just the big hits, he doesn't protect the ball well, the football. So he's a guy that likes to, he stands in the pocket, he moves a little bit, but when he moves, he's never protecting the football. It's hanging out there. That's why you've seen it get knocked out of his hands a couple times. One time they didn't recover it. The other time I think they did. Can't be doing that with the big boys. So I think that's going to be a problem. I'm sure the Saints will be wanting to come back to revenge that loss when they meet again. You got to play Tampa Bay, and then I don't know the rest of their schedule, who they may. But I wouldn't make no reservations just yet. But I do believe if they can hang in there, they may be able. Now, a big question mark. They did good drafting. I will give them that. Picking up Chuba Hubbard in the 4th round. I always thought he was a good back at Oklahoma State. You may need him a lot because McCaffrey is a hamstring problem. There's been so many different things happening to him in the last couple of years that, he's a guy that likes to get the ball and wants to tote it, run it, catch it, but at least 30 touches. He wants that or more, a game. But can his body physically hold up? And it just, you tend to wonder because he's always getting dinged a lot. So, he's a major factor of their offense. It's just the work, I guess the jury is still out on that. Can they be a playoff team? But they do got talent. They definitely do.
The defense is going to really keep them in a lot of games. However, Christian McCaffrey being out with that hamstring, the question is going to be how long is that injury going to be? That's going to make a difference in the game for them, I think, long term. Mm-hmm. If they could get him back, depending on how severe the hamstring is or is not, if they can get him back in obviously sooner than later, I think they're going to win some football games. However, the longer he stays out, I think that's going to put a lot of pressure on Darnold and the defense to carry the team. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how comfortable seeing Darnold's history with the Jets. Mm-hmm. Do you feel comfortable with I don't think he's the kind of quarterback that's going to carry the team. He's not that guy where there are very few quarterbacks like that. If he had McCaffrey, I would think that Carolina could potentially get into the playoffs. They have started out 3-0. I'm not sure if anyone's. I think if people were surprised they beat the Saints last week. I actually picked that game to my surprise. But when you look at Carolina's schedule, the next few games, they go at Dallas. They have the Eagles home, Vikings home, at the Giants. So do you figure out of the next, say, 4 games, can they go 3-1? Can they either split with the Eagles? Can they win? I think they could win at the Giants. They could beat Minnesota at home. Do they maybe lose at Dallas and they beat the Eagles or vice versa? Because I kind of think the Eagles and Dallas are kind of about on the same level as far as how good is the team. Yeah. And I actually think the Eagles, Giants, those 4 teams in that division, that's an evenly matched division.
Yeah. But I don't know if Carolina. I mean, that stretch we'll see where they at because I think they can have some problems with all 4 of those teams.
I do too,
Giants included.
I think the Giants. Let's go ahead. I think we got Irish Mike finally. Saturday Morning Sports Page.
Hi Pat, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, Irish Mike, thanks for giving us a call. We had some technical difficulties early on, and then we had to get Tamron's picks. So this was kind of an interesting day, to say the least.
No problem.
But I'm glad you're able to call the show. I did want to obviously talk to you because the big game, Notre Dame they're playing in Chicago. It's Wisconsin. Isn't this?
Yeah, and it's a Wisconsin home game.
Yeah.
If you remember last year, Pat, because of COVID, everyone went to a league schedule only. Notre Dame was supposed to play Wisconsin last year up in Lambeau Field in Green Bay.
Right.
And that was going to be a Notre Dame home game. So they went home and home with Wisconsin, but one was going to be in Green Bay last year, and the other one's going to be in Chicago this year. Last year's was Notre Dame's home game, and this year's is Wisconsin home game.
So they decided to play this game, though, instead of in Green Bay, they played it in Chicago.
Yes. I guess the field's not ready. The venue wasn't ready, so they're going to play again sometime in the future in Green Bay. They just don't know what year, probably about 4 or 5 years down the road sometime.
I see. So but it's technically a Wisconsin home game, even though obviously.
That is correct. Yes, it's a Wisconsin home game. Yes.
Even though Chicago's a lot closer to Notre Dame. Right?
That's what.
Well, we want. My preference is, Pat, that they play in South Bend and they play in Madison, but that's the way contracts work. And let's face it, when they can figure out some way to make more money, somehow, some way they're making more money out of this.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it is in a nutshell. You and I have talked endlessly about the proverbial money situation in college football, but we always know where to follow it, and follow the green.
If you can make a few extra $100,000, they're going to do it every time they get a chance.
What do you think on the game as far as the Notre Dame game? What's your feeling?
Well, if you'd asked me a month ago, Pat, I would have told you I was pretty confident in the game. But I know Notre Dame's 3-0 and Wisconsin's 2-1, and or Wisconsin's coming off a bye week, so they're 1-1. But
right.
I would say to you that, like most Notre Dame fans right now, we have major concerns along the offensive line. I think as a Notre Dame fan for the last 50 years, you get spoiled to having great offensive linemen, guys that go on to play in the NFL and be all pros in the NFL, and that's just not the case this year. I mean, had a kid transfer Marshall, 6-year senior, right guard. He's not really working out all that well, and Cone is more of a pocket passer. Obviously Cone is the big focal point today because he quarterbacked 20 some odd games as a starter at Wisconsin. Then last year he got injured and they put the Merritt's kid in, so he transferred to Notre Dame as a graduate transfer. So he's the big focal point, but he's more of a traditional stay in the pocket type passer. He's not like Ian Book where he can scramble around and make plays with his feet. And they've given up a lot of sacks this year. They've really struggled to run the football, especially in key situations. And you think of Notre Dame, you think of a team that wants to run the ball first and pass the ball second. I know they're 3-0, but that's my number one concern going in today is the Notre Dame offensive line. Can they hold up?
Yeah, I think when I look at Notre Dame is I think they're very lucky to be 3-0.
No question.
I think every Notre Dame fan would agree that obviously the Florida State was not a really good win. It was an ugly win and a lucky win.
Yeah. They got out to an 18-point lead, Pat, and then they took their foot off
Yes.
the pedal for some reason offensively, and their issues came. And
yeah,
I think they have gotten better defensively. Obviously, Marcus Freeman's in their brand new defensive coordinator with a great reputation, and it's a brand new defense. It's much more aggressive defense up front. They have a lot more sacks this year. They have a lot more tackle for losses, and they've had a lot of 3-and-outs, but they've given up 4 plays this year, Pat. Already they've gone for 65 yards or more for touchdowns and not all touchdowns, but for 65 yards or more. And I think they're next to last in the country of giving up big plays on defense. Whether it be pass or the run, because and I know we talk about this. When you're aggressive, you make a lot of plays in the backfield and get a lot of sacks. But if if one guy doesn't do his assignment, it could be a 75-yard touchdown run very, very easily.
Yeah, I think that I know Mad Dog Russo talked about that Toledo game. I know that the kid from Toledo didn't have the wherewithal to say, okay, don't run it into the end zone, run it
correct.
to the 3-yard line, take the knee, go down, and then run out the clock, kick the field goal, and then
we win. Yeah.
And they would win. And obviously they scored the touchdown, and that opened up the door. Notre Dame came right down the field, scored, and ultimately.
Yeah, and I don't blame that Toledo kid. I mean,
no.
You have a 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1. You're looking to get the first down. You're not thinking I'm gonna run in for 22 yards for a touchdown on the biggest play of the game. I mean,
right.
You're just not thinking that way. Neither were the coaches, and I don't blame the coaches either.
Right.
You know what I mean? And obviously they got the ball back and they marched down. I think Notre Dame scored a touchdown like in 40 seconds.
Oh yeah,
on 3 plays. So I mean, they didn't hold the lead for very long.
No.
But yeah, but I don't blame that kid in that situation. But yeah, you're right about that. And Kirk Heinisch, their starting news tackle for the last 3 years, he's hurt. He's on concussions protocol, so he's not playing today. So I worry about the big offensive line in Wisconsin, just having those traditional Wisconsin 6, 7, 8 minute drives where they have 14 plays and they eat up half the clock and keep their defense off the field. So I think what's the line on that game? Like
I was going to ask you if you wanted to. We had our picks, but I wanted to know if you're interested in picking these games. We have already done them, but if you don't mind, Notre Dame is they're playing at Chicago. They're taking on Wisconsin. It's 6. Wisconsin is laying 6.5 to Notre Dame.
Okay, I'll take the 6.5. I mean, I could definitely see Wisconsin win the football game, no doubt. But 6.5 is a lot for offensively. Wisconsin struggled to score too, so
right. That's kind of what
seems like to me. Pat, it's gonna be a low-scoring game, and if it's a low-scoring game, you always want to take the points. So I'll take the points.
I'll take the hook. The next one on the docket is LSU at Mississippi State, and Mississippi State is getting 2.5 at home.
Ooh, Mike Leach, huh?
Yeah, Mike Leach.
You know-
Ed Orgeron's seat is getting hotter as we speak.
Yeah.
Um,
That UCLA game wasn't very good a couple weeks
No.
ago. You know what? I'm going to go with Orgeron because LSU has more talent, although it's young. I'll go with the LSU Tigers.
Okay. The next one on the docket is Texas A&M at Arkansas. Arkansas gets 4.5 at home.
Yeah, I think they're playing that in Jerry Jones Stadium, I believe.
Oh, is that
So
it's at
it's a
Jerry
neutral
Jones?
site game.
Okay.
It's a Jerry Jones game. So
Okay, so
I think
it's
they've
at
been playing
Jerry
every year for the last
Jones.
5 or 6 years there. So it's a neutral site game for most schools.
Okay.
Texas A&M got a lot of quarterback issues right now. Their quarterback's out. So, but I'll still take them. I'll still take Texas A&M because their defense is staunch and they got 2 or 3 first-round draft picks where Arkansas doesn't. But Arkansas, that guy at Arkansas has done a great job down there. That former offensive line coach at Georgia has come in there and, really lit a fire. I mean, a couple weeks ago, they lit up Texas pretty good, right?
Yeah, they lit Texas up big time at Texas, too. That was at Texas. They went down to Texas. They caught me by surprise. I took Arkansas.
They've clearly gotten better, Pat. They've clearly gotten better.
Yeah. Pittman is the head coach there, and he's done wonders.
He's done a good job. He's done a really good job.
So I'm taking the points at Arkansas. You guys all took Texas A&M, so I'll probably end up on the wrong side of that. But Clemson is at NC State. NC State gets 10 points. Desmond Howard has this as upset alert special for Clemson, thinking they could get upset. NC State at home getting 10 points. Clemson struggled last week against Georgia Tech, 14-8. NC State, no problem with Furman, but that almost doesn't count. But
who did, Pat, if you could look it up for Dave, NC State lost to somebody a couple weeks ago that I didn't think was very good, to be honest with you. I can't remember who that was.
Yeah, they did. And I was going to look that up because that's a good point. Let's go.
I mean, Clemson, defensively, they're really good. It's offense. I mean, we saw it when they played Georgia. Clemson's offensive line wasn't very good. I mean, that's been the bugaboo about them. When the teams, even the last 4 or 5 years, minus the national title year, they've really struggled to protect Lawrence and DJ back there. Their offensive line in big games type situations, but their offensive line is not up to par with the Alabamas, the Ohio States, and the other top programs in the country.
Yeah, I know. That's just what it is.
They lost to North Carolina State, lost to
Mississippi State.
Okay.
24-10.
Yep.
At Mississippi State on the road.
Yeah. I mean, down in Starkville.
That's kind of tough. That's tough.
Who do I want? That's a rough one. You know what, Pat? I'll take the 10.5 points. I think Clemson's going to win the game, but I'll still take the 10.5.
Let's go to Texas Tech at Texas, and Texas Tech on the road gets 9 points. Texas has to lay 9, but they are at home.
You know what? I'll go with Texas at home. I mean, I think Sarkisian will run the ball and keep the Texas Tech offense off the field. And, Texas Tech football has been the same way, guys, for 25 years.
Yep.
They want to win every game 49-45, and you just can't play that way every week. I mean, you got to stop somebody once in a while. So I'll go with Texas.
Okay. Next one up is Iowa State at Baylor. Baylor gets 7 points. Home dog getting 7 points. They host Iowa State.
Well, Iowa State beat UNLV out in Vegas last week, like 48-3, coming off that bad loss at home and against Iowa. I mean, I like Matt Campbell, and he's one of those hot names in college. I don't like the fact that he's struggled with Iowa 6 years there. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's always okay to beat your arch rival once in a while. You know what I mean? So, obviously his name's on the marquee for some primetime jobs when they come available in December. And his name's been on the marquee the last 2 or 3 years. He's one of those hot up-and-coming coaches. I'm going to go with Baylor at home, though, and take the 7.
Yeah, we did too. Tamron went with Iowa State. Dave and I took Baylor too, and I took the 7 points at home. I think Baylor could, may not win it, but they're going to keep it close.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And
yeah,
that, could come down to it. Could be push all over at 7 points, but I'll take.
Sure.
Yeah, I did the same. UCLA. The last one is UCLA at Stanford. 4 points. Stanford gets 4 points at home versus UCLA.
Obviously, Stanford beat USC pretty good 2 weeks ago and cost Clay Helton his job.
Right.
And that move should probably been made 2 or 3 years ago. I think we all agree. But
Right.
they kept it, as long as they could. But I do. Joe Klatt said they had to get rid of him because USC might win 6 or 7 games in a row here. You know what I mean? And
Right.
the reality is, and we're right back to where we started from. We really can't fire him. He always said Clay Helton for 3 years did just enough to keep his job. And did you want to do that 4 years in a row? You mean, did you keep wanting to go down the same rabbit hole again? But I'm going to go with UCLA. I think they're a good football team. Obviously, they lost at home last week to Fresno State in a game that surprised people. But
Right.
Chip Kelly seems to have better talent now in his 4th year at UCLA. He was another coach on the hot seat going the season. But I know Stanford lost their opener at Kansas State, but then they beat USC. They beat Vanderbilt. But I don't think Stanford is the same team up front that they've been in the past on the offensive line and defensive line. So I'll go with UCLA.
Yeah, I do too. I felt UCLA. I think they'll snap back from that 40-37 loss with Fresno State at I think that was home and they dumped it.
I'm going to ask you this, Dave. Do you think Paul Feinbaum was talking on the show yesterday? He said even if Clemson runs the table and finishes 12-1, wins the ACC championship, which they very well could do because their schedule's not the most difficult, minus playing Georgia in that opener. Can they still be locked out of the playoffs? It's 12-1 Clemson that wins the ACC championship. He thinks they should be because he doesn't look at the conference respected very well. But what are your guys' thoughts about that?
I don't know. They might have the cachet to still get in there, but I don't really. The conference is terrible.
Yeah.
You know, it's no doubt about that. North Carolina State, like I said, North Carolina is trying to play up the part, but it's still not enough. But 12-1 is going to be hard to overlook.
Yeah.
It
let's face
it's
it,
just going to be hard.
If Cincinnati Bearcats beat Notre Dame in South Bend next Saturday, which they very well could do,
yes,
they could run the table and be the first non-Power 5 team to get in the Final Four.
Yeah, see, and
people
that's
do respect
right.
them. People look at their program and say that's a good program. They're good players.
That could come down to that.
Did they signed to go to what conference? Cincinnati.
Big 12.
Big 12.
They've already signed the app. It's done. There was BYU, Cincinnati, 2 other teams, Houston, and there was one other one. There were 3, and there's another team that's going to
Central Florida.
That's it. Yeah. Central Florida. So those 4 teams are going to go into the Big 12.
Yeah.
And they're going to obviously try to keep Big 12 as a Power 5 as conference.
They can keep them going with those 4. I think they can with those 4. They really can.
And Dave, people aren't going to like this comment, but you and I talked about this a million times. I mean, we're only a month in the season. There's a long way to go and a lot of football ahead of us over the next 9 weeks, 10 weeks in college football. But legitimately speaking, after 1 month of the season, you could have 3 SEC schools in the Final Four in Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. And those would be, just from the naked eye, say, forget about wins and losses. I know Alabama beat beat Florida in Gainesville last week, 31-29 in a close, heavily contested close ball game. But don't go by the wins and losses. I mean, when you look at those programs, you say to yourself, those very well could be 3 of the 4 best teams in the country.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, in Florida, played well without that other quarterback that could have really been a factor in that game.
Yeah.
Because he brings so much of a different skill set. Those teams look good, seriously. Alabama always looked good, but Florida looks really good. And Georgia.
Florida did.
Georgia knocked your head
They
off.
almost made Alabama. They could have possibly.
Yeah.
That was a game that Alabama was lucky to win.
Now, Alabama play Georgia this year, right?
Yeah, they do.
Wow.
No, I don't think they play Georgia in the regular season.
Oh, they don't.
Georgia will play Florida in the regular season, but Alabama will not play Georgia in the regular season.
Oh,
no.
okay, they don't.
Okay.
All right. Well, then that.
They can only be in the SEC title game on December 5th.
And that could happen.
Yeah, that could. Yeah.
That'd be.
I mean, it's an interesting situation with Clemson.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because I think the thing you're going to say, right now though, I don't think Ohio. I think Ohio State. We didn't really. I think they're going to lose another game or two. Until they figure that. I'm not impressed. I think they have a problem with the coaching defense, and I don't know if they have the talent on that defense. They struggled. They won at with Tulsa at home, but I watched the game and Tulsa. Instead of throwing the pick six, if Tulsa scores, it's a one score game. Now they threw the pick six, and people maybe Buckeye fans will pump their chest. You see, we won. 41-20. We dominated. No, you really didn't dominate that game.
No.
You struggled defensively, again defending the pass. They're playing Akron tonight on Big Ten,
and they're 54-point favorites.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I want to tell you guys something. Is you and I, we all three of us talked about this a million times over the last 8 months. The NCAA changed the rule about transfers. Now you can immediately transfer and be immediately eligible. Okay. For most schools, today's their fourth game, guys, and the rule has said you can play 4 freebies, okay, 4 free games. But once you play a 5th game, your eligibility is done for that year, so you lose a year of eligibility like that. So what I'm going to tell you, gentlemen, is this. Tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, watch the transfer portal and in college football because it's going to get hot and heavy very quickly over the next 5 or 6 days here. Because kids are going to say, I'm not playing here. I'm not happy. I'm not sure. I'm going to preserve a year of eligibility. I'm out of here.
And they're going to leave.
Yes. Now, they have to sit out the rest of the year, obviously, Pat.
Right. They can't, right. They could transfer.
But they won't lose their eligibility.
Right. They don't lose the eligibility.
They can't play this year anywhere else, but,
right.
They can hit the ground running in January and February, winter program, spring ball in March and April, and then, get ready for next year.
So they could. They could decide.
You're allowed to play 4 free games without losing eligibility, but once you play a 5th game, then you lose a whole year of eligibility. So for those guys that have true story, guys, the Baylor quarterback Charlie Brewer transferred to Utah. Wants to play one more year at Utah. He played his first 2 games there for Utah starting quarterback as a graduate transfer. He got bunched in the second half of last week's game, and he announced Monday he was transferring.
Yep.
He's going to go somewhere else and play next year. He doesn't want to pad. He doesn't want to hold a clipboard and have a baseball cap on for the next 9 games because he wants to be a 5th, 6th, 7th round draft pick. So he'll sit out the rest of this year and play somewhere again next year as a graduate transfer, somewhere where he could start and play.
Yep.
See, you're going to see more of this. I think this is going to be almost the landscape of college football.
Yes.
And what people don't realize,
You take the Ohio State-Akron game tonight. They're going to play. They had every intention, and Ohio State and Alabama of the world have done a tremendous, tremendous job over the years. When they get games against inferior opponents, they're up 35-0 in the middle of the second quarter. They get their second, third teamers a lot of playing time, a lot of action. That's how they get their player development. That's how they improve their kids and improve their program. They planned to do that last week against Tulsa, Pat, but they couldn't.
No.
Yeah, right.
You're in the middle of the fourth quarter, and you're up 1 score, and you're at 1st and 10 of your own 10-yard line. You're in a dogfight at home.
Mm-hmm.
So this Akron game is the feel-good game. We're going to get a lot of guys, a lot of playing time because at the end of the day, we don't want guys to transfer and leave the program.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That goes on across the country. I'm not just saying Ohio State, but that's how coaches think. And don't tell me they don't think that way, Lucia. Don't tell me that.
Oh, I know. I agree with you.
They think that way. Coaches in private meetings. Who's not happy?
Oh, no, there's no doubt about it. This transfer portal has got coaches staying up at night.
Yes.
They're not. I can guarantee you, there's no coach out there getting 8 hours of sleep. That's a given. Probably getting a lot less than 8 hours of sleep. But the point is,
this has changed the landscape of immediate eligibility because when kids don't feel like they're getting a fair shake, whether we agree with it or not, they're going to pack their bags and leave.
Well, and then you throw in
tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're going to see the portal across the country like you've never seen it before.
And then you have the licensing situation where kids now. Boosters, if there's a kid out there that has a chance to make an impact, somebody can play, a booster could come in and say, okay, kid, come, you could use you in my advertising and my dealer, and you could come play here. And
exactly.
That's going to happen too. So you're going to have a combination of maybe kids getting, basically paid to go to another school. And they could do that now, and they could transfer because of the portal, and they can take money from a booster to go to another school also.
Correct.
So you got 2 things working against the coach.
Sure.
So he's got to deal with both those. The kid, the ability to transfer, and the fact that the kid could be signing an NIL deal with the booster of another school.
Like the Stroud kid, the starting quarterback at Ohio State, he's not going to play today unless it's an emergency situation, which there won't be. I mean, the game will be over by the middle of the first quarter. But
It should be.
if they were playing Penn State or Michigan or Wisconsin this week, that kid would be playing, Pat.
Oh, no
right?
doubt.
He'd be playing because the fact that that's who they trust the most coming out of a fall camp. They're starting. He put up good numbers so far. He struggled a couple plays, but he put up good numbers. And but they want Kyle McCord. That kid is a high 4-star, low 5 true freshman. They want him to play.
Right.
Okay. They want to get him playing time because this is an opportunity to get him in and see what he can do. Now, obviously, it's against an inferior opponent, but he doesn't want to stand on the sideline with a baseball cap holding the clipboard. And you forget about the Ewers kid who arrived on campus 6 weeks ago. I mean, there's always that factor too. So I'm saying this is a factor in college football that coaches think about.
Well,
so we have to try to keep guys happy.
And that's basically what you're up against now, more than anything, is you've got to try to keep these kids from transferring.
Yes. And that applies to Alabama, LSU, Notre Dame, Michigan, every other school. So it's not just Ohio State; it's everywhere now. Let
me throw this by. I know we're about up against the hour. I'll throw this out. If Ohio State wins this game, 35-17, are Buckeye fans going to be upset and screaming bloody murder that this team is really a poor football team since they only beat Akron by 18 points?
Yeah, I mean, they'll be angry and upset. This is a game they should win. Honestly, they should cover the 54. I'm being serious with you guys, by the way.
Right.
When you think of MAC, I mean, Akron, the last 10, 12 years has been the worst school in the MAC the last 10, 15 years. They're the bottom feeder of the MAC year in and year out, correct?
Yes. No, they
Terry
are.
Bowden tried, and he couldn't get it done there.
No, it's been a bottom feeder for a long time.
Compared to Toledo, Central Michigan, Ball States of the world, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That are the upper tier schools in the MAC. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're not even, and Akron doesn't even. Miami of Ohio will go a year. They'll have an okay team, then bad. Good, they're up and down a little bit, but Akron's just been bad.
Yeah, they're bad every year.
It's been bad
they
football
win one or two
team.
games if they're lucky, and they always finish last in the league. So. Yes, I would say they would be upset. Yes, if they won 42-17, they would be upset.
They're not going to be happy campers. They're not happy
but
anyway.
They'll cover the 54.
Yeah, they should cover it. No, that's good. All
right, you guys
sir.
have a great weekend. Thanks for taking my phone call.
Thank you, Irish Mike.
Okay, Irish Mike.
Saturday morning sports page. That should be it. Dave Clark, great safe week. Everybody vaccinate. Do not drink and do not drive and buckle up. And wear a mask, I guess, depending on where you're at. But stay safe, main thing. And we will do it again next week here on Western Reserve Radio. Stay safe out there. It is the Saturday morning sports page.
The Angry Giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Located in Applewood Estates in Boardman Township, the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club offers a pleasant family environment. Choose a membership that meets your needs and enjoy a relaxing venue that includes not only swimming for the family, but also youth activities such as competitive swimming, tennis, and more. Enjoy the friendly atmosphere all summer long with the staff and members of the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club. For more information, go to applewoodswimandtennis.com or call 330-953-2833.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Miss an episode of By All Means, and you could miss a lot.
I have the sound up, and I appreciate the guys that do the work now. But it is with great appreciation I see what the guys do, not only the announcers, but also the players. So we've had wonderful playoffs. I mean, single, double, triple overtime games. It's been fantastic.
By All Means, Tuesdays at 5, right here on Western Reserve Radio and streaming live on westernreserveradio.com.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Ohio. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother! We can do this together!
All right, let's go. Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you? What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't? Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No. Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this!
You will rock this! To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. Cool. Very cool. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Had no idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was
the
fine.
most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Message.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Miss an episode of By All Means, and you could miss a lot.
To the radio play-by-play voice at our buddy back from here at Youngstown, it is the voice Fitz. Everett Fitzhugh, my friend, how are you?
Man, it feels good to hear your voice again, Mark. Everything's going well, and definitely excited to be back on the airwaves briefly for here in Youngstown.
By All Means, Tuesdays at 5, right here on